type in GUKPT on YouTube, and then scroll down 3 or 4 spots for the live ticket, and it should be there. So last hand, King Queen for Chris, and Stuart with the Ace 3, and that's going to be that. Continue with the King Queen, and just going to make the fold here, Stuart. We're on a 20-minute break, guys. Sorry about the stream going down there at the end, but we will be back at 8:15 with the penultimate session of the day. We will see you then. Ta-da!
You know, would pay more attention to the ones that were obviously deep in the tournament, and I would late register a lot of tournaments so that I just didn't miss the tournament, but I could still play and just come in a bit later when the blinds are bigger.
Yeah. So basically, it more or less gave you the impetus that this was a career and this was it. What were the parents like? What were the family like, or did you keep them under the radar for a year or two?
Well, yeah, kind of pretty funny. Maybe a year or 2 or 10 almost. No, no. Well, because what happened was I was playing at university and sort of going to less and less of my lectures, doing really well. At first, it was just sort of a bit of fun, and then I was making some serious money, and I was like, wow, maybe I can do this for a career. And then it almost got to the point where I had to do it for a career because I basically had to drop out of university because I got so far behind. I tried to stop playing and, you know, catch up with my studies, do my dissertations, which is like a 10,000 word document on your subject. But yeah, I just couldn't get past the first sentence really. So I went into the I went into the dean of the university and told him that I was gonna sort of leave my degree, and he was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" And I told him poker, and he kind of laughed in my face. And the only person I really told outside my friends was my sister, and I kind of was my younger sister, and I got her to because I had to confide in someone. And I knew my parents wouldn't, you know, probably jump at the chance their son's going to be a gambler and play poker. But at this stage, I didn't even know if I could do it myself. I was, you know, I'd had a few good months and stuff, but yeah, I didn't know if it was sustainable. So yeah, I just grinded. Stayed at university. A couple of my friends were in a lower year than me, so I just stayed on the campus and played a lot of poker. Just took up all the information I could and got better and better, and paid off all my student loans. And then in the end, when at the end of my university, I ended up making up that I passed my degree essentially, which. But I went for I basically said I got a third, which is the lowest pass possible, so they kind of believed me, my parents. But obviously I didn't have a degree to go and get a job, so I had to tell them, you know, that I wanted to give poker a try, and they were very skeptical. But my dad gave me he'd seen that I paid off all my student loans, so obviously they were happy about that I didn't have any debts and stuff, and I had some money in the bank. And he wrote down all the money I had in every poker site, had all my bank account details, everything, and he gave me 6 months to see how much, you know, essentially I'd increased my bankroll in that 6 months to see if it was sustainable to live on and stuff. So that 6 months, you know, at the time I guess I was like 21 years old, and I was just like, all my friends are going out on a Friday night, and I was just like, I've got to stay in and play poker. Like I have to play every day to just, you know, make sure I hit enough money where my dad's going to be impressed and let me do this as a career, not send me back to school kind of thing. So I really didn't want to go back. And yeah, luckily those 6 months went really well. I qualified for the my first ever World Series at that point, got smoked there. So that was a bad start because obviously, you know, Vegas always gets you do a bunch of money there. So then I had to grind it back even harder. And yeah, that 6 months went well, and just kind of went from there really. But it wasn't actually until my second book came out where I kind of said some of these stories and stuff that my parents didn't know. I never told them that I hadn't got my degree until 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, I had to break the news just before the book came out, but luckily yeah, it all worked out in the end.
Your first few live tournaments, your first Ender Mob, 124th in the World Series 2K for 4,056. That was June 2008.
Right.
What was it like playing in Vegas for the first time? And how did you find it going to Vegas? Because obviously you played a lot online. So playing live to playing online, did you just have the complete contrast and thought this is just as easy as playing online?
No, far from it. And to be fair, that that's my first tournament cash, but I'd played quite a few tournaments before that and not even cashed. As I said, I'd gone to I think it was it 2000, maybe the 2007 World Series, or maybe it was 2006, which was the one that Jamie Gold won. It was that one. It was
2000. That was 2006.
Okay, so I played that one, and obviously you just said that my first cash was in 2008, so I'd obviously played a few tournaments in between as well. But I was sticking, mainly I stuck to sort of what was my bread and butter, playing online, and if I satellite into a tournament online, I'd go and play the live tournament. But yeah, I didn't have much live experience, and it was quite a different game to me, just like dealing, just so many differences. So it definitely took a lot of time for me to get used to it, even like the first sort of 3 years after I cashed, I never really cashed anything big, like compared to what the buy-ins were. I was definitely a losing player at live poker to begin with. And just trial and error really, and like just perseverance. And then, I think it was 2011, it all kind of clicked for me. And it wasn't even that I was doing anything that different compared to before in live poker, but I was just winning the key flips, winning the key hands, had a little bit of extra confidence to go with my read and stuff. And yeah, I think in 2011, I sort of had a breakout year in live poker and actually started showing that I could be a winning player live as well as online, rather than before, where I was just sort of winning online. And then every time I played a live tournament, never cash in or min cash in, never make the final table. So yeah, it was quite a transformation.
Well, the first time we ever met, was
a long time ago.
It was the same year, 2008. It was Luton, the GUKPT. You finished 17th out of 376 entries. Can you remember who won it?
Yeah, of course, cricket. Yeah, I gave him all the chips as well. With like 17 left, I started his career for sure. And it was funny because the night before we'd met, I think we'd been staying at the same hotel, and they had a pool table, and he's really good at pool, and I play a lot of pool, as I already said. So we played a few games of pool. I was chatting to him, and actually he's and his friend, who actually I knew more than Sam at the time, Pete Linden. And then we happened to both go deep in the tournament, and we played a huge hand. And my friends still make fun of me for this hand to this day. And you're actually in the background. I could hear you in the middle of the hand with your loud, booming voice. And it was like, I think it was a 3-bet pot, and I had a pair of queens, and I think it came like 2, 3, 4. So like pretty safe flop. And Sam check called, and then turn was a 5, so pretty bad card for me. Obviously, any ace makes a straight now, but then the river was a queen, and so I now made top set, and Sam shoved all into me, and in my head I was like, like in this spot, he never really, he either has an ace or he's turning like pair of 9s or pair of 8s into a bluff, and I thought he was capable enough to do it, so I ended up calling. I didn't like, it was back in the day when people didn't really call 3-bets out of position very much. I was, especially when online, like I was used to people just folding or 4-bet. Maybe live poker, was quite different. But I basically thought if he had ace king, he would have been all in before the flop. So I didn't put him on an ace king. And if he had ace queen, I blocked, and there wasn't many combinations left of that because I had 2 queens. And so ace jack offsuit, I thought he would fold before flop. And so yeah, I ended up calling him because I thought he was turning like a 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s all into a bluff. And yeah, he just had ace jack, and I looked very silly, and it was a huge pot. And I just remember behind me, you were saying something about, Chris Moore has called and he can't even beat an ace. Oh wow, needle as well as I'm looking up. But yeah, that was my first big sort of deep run in a good tournament. So it was exciting for sure. But yeah, it was definitely very memorable as well.
Sam got the trophy. You did indeed.
Yeah, I used to use my chips wisely.
But in 2008, it wasn't all bad because he became the world's #1 for the very first time. Had you been chasing it? Was this something that obviously you're keeping control of what you were doing online. You were knowing you were there. You were top 10, top 5. Number 1, what did it mean?
At the time, oh, it meant everything to me. It's like what I'd sort of devoted the last sort of few years of my life to. I was playing poker at that stage way more than even now. Like I was playing 6, 7, sometimes 7 days a week, every week, all day, long days. But like to me, it didn't feel long. You know, like the hours went so fast. I was really enjoying it. I loved the game. I was just learning all the time, getting better. And so it wasn't like, to me, it wasn't a job. I was just doing what I loved doing. So, but yeah, once I discovered Pocket Fives and saw the rankings, obviously you start at the bottom in the thousands, and I was like always wanted to get into the top 100, so I could start talking. Like my thing was like I wanted to talk strategy with the other sort of top players, but I didn't want to message them before they were while they were ranked higher than me, because I thought they wouldn't accept talking to me, kind of thing. So I was like, okay, once I'm in the top 100, I can chat to this guy and message him. And so I kept like moving up, and it gave me incentives to keep moving up. And then obviously, you know, like making number 1, we always thought, oh, wow, maybe, you know, you dreamed of it, but you didn't think it was possible. But then, you know, suddenly you start making top 20, you think, wow, I could maybe do this if I run good for a couple of months, win a big one. And yeah, so to finally get there was an amazing feeling. It felt like a real accomplishment, you know. And like at the end of the day, like the rankings, a lot of it was playing. You had to play a lot to get up there because of the volume thing. But normally, if you were, you know, it was like to get number 1, you had to be doing well as well. So it was definitely a sign that I sort of was being successful as well.
Yeah, I think one of the first videos we'd done, and we've obviously, because we've been in lockdown, we've been rerunning some of the videos on Grosvenor and the GUKPT. You were sat talking with Adam Clark from Blackpool, Clarkatroid.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, good guy.
Yeah, I think you said in the interview you just dropped away from number 1, but you were going to get it back. So it was a fantastic interview. There were no chin hair.
Yeah, no.
We'll try and dig it out for you and send a link, because it was a fantastic video. You and Clark were just bouncing off each other, because obviously you knew a lot about him playing so much volume online.
Yeah, I think that was the first time I met him as well. So I sort of played him online. So that's always exciting when you got to meet people in real life after you played a lot against them online and stuff. And you know, it was weird. Like even though you sort of didn't know each other that well, like you kind of, if you felt like you knew each other for years, kind of thing. Like I met a few of, even at my wedding, like a couple of guys who were like in my groomsmen party. I met them through, you know, I met them 10 plus years ago through poker, and we've stayed close friends ever since.
Yeah. Now we can't we can't not have an interview with Chris Moorman and talking about the father in the GUKPT circuit.
Yeah, he'll be like, why are you
in Manchester? This is one of the greatest little stories of a GUKPT title. I do believe it was a birthday present. Is that correct?
Yeah, belated birthday present, because I was at the time I was living in Australia, and my dad's birthday is on Valentine's Day, and so I didn't get back till, I guess I got back from Australia in like March, so it was a month after my dad's birthday, and I was like, oh, what do you want for your birthday? And he was like, oh God, it's gone now, you missed it, blah blah blah, moaning. So I was like, come on, give me an idea. And then I actually came up with an idea. I was like, how about this? I'm gonna, like, he was playing a bit of poker just on online, but low stakes. He'd only really ever played one live tournament before, and that was a £10 rebuy at Southend Casino, so a little bit different. But I was like, how about this? I'm going to go up and play this tournament in Manchester. It's £1,000 to buy in. I'll buy you in, and like we can work out maybe like a backing deal or something. But I'll buy you in, and no pressure. We both play the tournament and go up, have like a father and son bonding weekend kind of thing, and just have a good time and have fun with it. And he was a bit reluctant at first because he didn't want to embarrass me, and he'd never really played live, so he was a bit nervous. But in the end, he agreed to go, and that was good for me as well, because I don't drive, so he gave me a lift up there.
Ulterior motive.
Yeah, it was an expensive Uber, but whatever. No. So anyway, we both played the tournament. This was at the stage as well where still dusting hard in live poker, never done anything good. And so I'm thinking, okay, this could be the one for me. And anyway, we get to first break, and he's enjoying meeting everyone. He's meeting all the lads, kind of thing, that he's sort of followed online, because he really enjoyed railing me and stuff like that. So he met Trig, a few of the other boys. And on first break, we were all chatting, you know, how everyone does. Oh, I'm up to this chip stack or whatever. And he's tripled up. I don't even know how. He must have been getting out of line for sure. But I was like, okay, you need to chill out. Like, you've got some chips now. Just play patient. It's a long tournament. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So I was trying to coach him on breaks. And yeah, after day one, we both made it through, and we were both actually top 10 in chips. So that was really kind of exciting. So like, we're up for a few hours at night, sort of chatting like two mates kind of thing, adrenaline's pumping, trying to get some sleep before day two. And then day two comes about, and I ended up losing a big hand. I actually get knocked out 5 before the money, so I was a bit gutted because I was thinking, oh, this is my tournament kind of thing. But I regrouped, went to the bar, got a few beers with a few of the guys, and then went to round my dad because he was still in. And you know, at first he just wanted to make the money, made the money, he had a decent stack, and then after that, though, he really wanted to make the final table, and that's where it kind of started going a little bit wrong, because he started changing his game, and he played too tight, and he was blinding out, and he got down short. And I tried to tell him on the break, okay, if you get anything, you're going to be big blind after the break. If you get anything in the big blind, just go with it. You know, you're only down to like 8 big blinds or something like that, I think. Yeah, so it's like anything half decent, king 9, whatever, go with it if it's a late position open. And folded to the legend of UK poker, Surinder Sarnar, on the button, and he was chip leader at the time, so he was playing very aggressive, like raising every hand. No one was really playing back at him, and he's 3.5x'd it on the button like everyone did back then. And my dad was in the big blind. He pushed all his chips in like Phil Helmer style. I was like, okay, I'm on the round, like saying, "Oh, he's got a good one here. That's good, yes." And then Surinder's in the tank because he's probably pot committed at this stage, made it 3.5 big blinds. My dad only had like 8 big blinds, but obviously he's got a good hand by the way he's tanking. So I'm like, okay, we're going to be in good shape here. And he finally calls, and they flip over the cards, and Surinder had like Jack 5 off, and I was like, oh wow, hopefully my dad's got like him dominated, like jacks, queens, like ace jack, something like that. Yeah. And my dad just proudly flipped over his 10-6 offsuit. I was just like, what the fuck? And then before I knew it, they just dealt the flop, and it came 7-8-9. He just flopped the straight. And he was like, "Yeah, I told you, I knew." He's like, and then he doubled up there, and he just like turned into a new person. He just like went back to his old self, just going like playing every hand, and got to the final table, and everyone else was trying to ladder up, play ICM, and my dad was just going for it, putting them in a coffin, and ended up getting heads up, and yeah, the rest is history. Like, it was crazy because I was watching. It was so weird watching on the rail because it was out of my control. I couldn't, it was down to him, and I was so nervous for him. But yeah, for him to get the win was just really a fairy tale. And then it kind of like the reality sunk in, because then he started giving me shit for having a bigger cash for the next year of my life. I had to like focus more on live poker, because I was like, I can't have this for forever. Everyone in me is to tell them that I was a professional poker player, but he had a bigger cash than me. So yeah.
Well, he finished 13th in the Champion of the Champions as well, and that's his only 2 Ender Mob. Like, that's the only 2 cash he's got on the Ender Mob. The Champion of Champions are winning the GUKPT.
No, he always says, I've probably got one of the highest ROIs in live poker, like, because he didn't really start playing much. He played like 1 World Series poker event, like.
We're back. We're back with a new table. I already have one eye out. I don't see through this one if you keep seeing me that bloody hat. Oh dear, we're in. Big chip counts on the left hand side. There they are. Sandeep Koza 145. Rapinda Chima. Roy Cropper is no more. Roy Cropper is no more. We are back. Alexis Savides. In fact, he's on our table, isn't he?
Yep.
He's one of the big chip leaders. Ronan Sweeney, Stephen Game, he's got it. Craig Grant, Amir Danderford, and Drayton Axiadge back in. They're few of the big stacks around the room. There'll be plenty more coming in a little bit at the next break, obviously. It's tough to get the big stacks when there's 300 people sat in the room.
Yeah.
Who've we got, Jay, to entertain us for this session?
Nice little table coming up.
Come on, tell us.
In one, Alexis Savides. In 2, Shane Ross. In 3, Adam Reynolds is back on a re-entry. 4, John Bousfield. 5, Yikwing Song. 6, John Kelly. 7, Dean Hutchinson. 8, Katie Swift. And in 9 is TJ, Terry Jordan.
Do we actually look like them down there?
I don't. I need a new one. I know when it started that was the avatar when I started this job, but I think that needs to be updated. I'm just saying. Maybe we whoever makes the avatars, if you're watching, maybe a little update.
I've not changed. Not changed.
Roy Walker.
No, not changed at all. Say what you see. Say what you see. We are back with our new table. Enjoy the next 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen. John Kelly's in, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. John Kelly sat in seat 6.
Wow.
He's got the flashing lights on.
I think we have a winner for the player that wins a meal already.
John Kelly. Look at that table. We've got Bousey on the table as well. That's amazing. Katie's got the jumper on. And the dealer.
Look at this table. Dealer, Bousey, John, Katie.
She could be Christmas every day.
You wouldn't think, if someone just tuned in now randomly, they would not think this was a 2K, looking at this table and how they're dressed. But it's great to see so many people getting involved.
Who's asking for a free roll password? There is no free roll password needed today, Ryan. We have a £250 free roll on Sunday that is password protected.
Yeah, lovely from Bousey, straight out the bat here on the button. Suited wheelace, incorporating in light free bet. And should work versus these particular holdings. And Bousey here, well played from him with the ace-4 suited, gets that through straight off the bat. First pot going to the man in the Christmas jumper. Going to let you know some of the bust outs we had just before the break.
Go on then.
Kevin Warrilow, Ram Vaswani, Adam Reynolds we saw on our featured table, Abdul Morsi, Rob Hallworth, Tom Hall, Paul Grummett, Cal Huang, Leon Campbell, Richard DeVell, Ryan O'Donnell, and that is that. That brings us up to date. So low jack open from Shane, and Bousey just opts to flat the ace queen in the cutoff. And Yikwang just calling here with the 9s. So both Bousey and Yikwang could have opted to free bet these, but fine calling as well. Flop of 5-5-3, 2 hearts, and Bousey happy to take initiative here once the original pre-flop opener checks, but Yikwang not going to be going anywhere with the pocket 9s. You're going to make the call with position. And Bousey drawing very thin here because Shane folding the same hand.
2 of spades on the turn.
Yes, it does pick up a will draw here, Bousey. Got to be thinking about hands that Yikwang's going to flat here with on the button. He'll have some heart draws for sure and 2 overs, as well as the pocket pairs like he has in this scenario. Maybe some 5x as well, some ace-5 suited, 5-6 suited, these type of hands that he might peel on the button. And now going to fire with the 9s for protection, equity, denial purposes. Don't want to let Bousey realise equity for free with the 2 overcards, and Yikwang takes that one down. Ryan, you're 2 days too early for the free roll password.
Yep. Yeah, we mentioned that. The Chef Brothers says, what a table. So our £10 rebuy Christmas special is underway.
Imagine. Reynolds
it is good for everybody to be involved.
Adam in the low jack with the queen jack. folds round to Katie in the big blind, who just chooses to fold the 10-3 and raise and take for Adam. Shane Ross in seat 2 is from Dundee, says Dennis.
Okay, Dundee Ross.
Long trip for him.
Shane Ross. Yeah, that is a fair old trip. Dundee, all the way down to London. Big out to John Kelly with the flashing Christmas jumper on.
Yeah, I think he's won himself a milk tower for the players' competition. Well, Balsy's put on a good show as well, to be fair to him. Probably got the two here that are going to be heads up for the mill. Yeah. Balsy and John with the Christmas outfits. Don't forget, guys, as well, if you have just tuned in, we're giving away a £110 token. All you need to do is tweet me and the Tower on Twitter with a picture of yourself wearing your Christmas attire, watching the live stream, and at the end of the day, Tower and I are going to choose who's going to be receiving that £110 token for the giveaway.
Chris Wood in the building, I know, buddy. Good places, Den. We'll watch out for him. Starting seat number 2. It's old Shane Ross.
Incoming 3-bet here from Dean with the jacks. It's going to be a tough spot here for Balsy Tower because he's not going to be going anywhere here facing this bottom 3-bet with the 10s. Working with 50 bigs to start the hand, so probably just going to call here and take some flops out of position. I shouldn't be too worried about John ever coming in for a back raise, flattening the cut-off. I don't think John's ever going to have too many strong hands here. But Balsy does make the call for 2.9k more. And John now closing the action. He's getting an attractive price here with the 6s. So it looks like he is going to make the call. And we're going three-way, 3 pairs. So flop has rolled off. Check from Balsy.
King 3-2.
Yeah, fairly dry this one, and checks through. Dean wary about the King X, but he's going to feel a lot more comfortable now.
Absolutely.
Once this jack,
he's got the check mark, as we can see,
comes off on the turn. Now going to fire for 6k, just south of half, and should just be 2 fairly prompt folds from both Balsy and John.
There shall be no ticket entries for tonight's turbo flight of the grand final at the cash desk now. The turbo flight starts at 9 PM and runs on a 20-minute clock, same 10 levels, 20 minutes. Registration can be taken at the cash desk.
So pocket 5s for you, Quan. Raises to 1.1. And TJ, 10-7 of clubs in the small. Can't see Terry folding this one, Tower. He's going to make the call. And Alexis here, King Queen suited in the big blind. Very nice hand for him. Going to be defending at the very least.
I don't think Terry's played to get up to 51,000. Terry, or do you think he's calmed down a bit with him in the grand final?
Maybe calm down a little bit, Tower.
Nice flop, if you got King Jack. King, King, Jack.
King, Queen for Alexis. Huge this flop for him. After flattening out the big blind. And Yuquan here with the 5s. Chooses to check behind. Well timed check from him. Oh!
Yuquan!
Can he turn a set? Yuquan!
Oh!
Wow.
Real all week.
And Terry's just coming out leading for 500. And Alexis here sitting there with trip kings.
I think Alexis will fire it up, won't he?
I think he raises here, Tower, just to get Terry, try and get Terry heads up with position with our hand, and obviously bad for us just flat hand leave. Like Yuquan can come in with some like bare ace of diamonds, bare queen of diamonds hands.
4,000.
So raises to 4K, and what's the play here now as Yuquan? He's just praying that Alexis has a flush here in this situation, but should just be flattened. Don't want to set off alarm bells here. Like if we 3-bet this turn after flop check through, like our hand just looks monstrous, Tower, as being the pre-flop opener. So Yuquan does make the flat.
Terry come just snap folds.
The 8 of hearts on the turn, on the river, sorry, and now Alexis with his king queen. Like obviously alarm bells got to be going off for the cold call from Yuquan after we raised the turn, but still expecting to come in for value here. Like ace jack with the ace of diamonds, definitely a hand Yuquan can have in this situation. Maybe queens with the queen of diamonds. I don't think we want to be going too big here as Alexis. Like want to give ourselves room to bet fold, and does actually opt for 9K, so 3/4 pot.
7?
Oh, 7.2. Okay,
Yeah,
I much prefer that from Alexis here. Really nice size choice, and it just means if we get raised in this situation, we can find the fold here with king queen a lot of the time. Just because the cold call on the turn and then getting raised on the river, it just looks super strong. And Yuquan can definitely check back ace x of diamonds on this flop tower with 2 kings out there. He can for sure have the nut flush still. Just because he hasn't c-bet flop doesn't mean we can't give him credibility for flushes here, but he has that inconspicuous bottom boat here with the 5s. So what size do we make it here? I'd probably go like 3x, 22k, something around that, because Alexis will have all the flushes calling out of the big blind pre. He's going to defend a whole host of hands that are diamonds, so probably choose somewhere around the 3x sizing to put those flushes in a really tough spot. Well, he's only got 25k back, actually. I've just seen his stack size, so he's probably going to...
Yeah, the lot's in.
He's just going to rip, and now Alexis back on him.
That's for a count.
Yeah, I think
Tough decision.
I think if... I don't know Alexis, I'm not aware of him, but... Like, these spots are just so infrequently bluffed. Like, he's never going to... I don't think he's ever going to do this with, like, ace-jack with the ace of diamonds or queens with the queen of diamonds, like, turning it into a bluff. Always speak about how these river spots, when someone does raise, they're just so infrequently bluffing. And the thing is, like, king 10 here, probably not going to rip when we do have all the flushes. So I think this can be a spot where we can hero fold as Alexis here with the king queen of clubs. Like in terms of hand value trips, like obviously a very good hand, but very nice hero fold there from Alexis.
Well done.
Just figures it out. It's just one of them spots, Tower, where it's just we need him to specifically like float turn, cold call the turn as a float, or with like a bare ace of diamonds and then bluff river, and he's not going to cold call with a bare ace. He'll need like ace jack with it as well, which has got a fair amount of showdown. But does find the hero fold on the river. Fair play to him. Yeah, cheers, Brad. I wasn't actually looking at the stack sizes on the river.
Hold the press.
Hold the press.
The trip to White Hart Lane is on.
It's on.
1-0
1-0.
to the Millers. Ho ho! I'm telling you, we'll end up at Bolton as well like that in the third round.
Yeah, I don't think I can get tickets for that one, Tower. Well, you probably could. I guess they'll be on sale somewhere. So Terry, 8-3 clubs on the button. Does love a suited hand, this man. He's going to come in for the call, and Queen 7-3 gives him bottom pair in, the best of it. Checks round to him, and he's going to fire. And 2 quick folds from the blinds. He opened the button, fair enough, with the 8-3 suited. And our Christmas dealers gone. Great effort from Carl. Yes, Rizla. Teddy is still in. Ace-4 of clubs for Yaquem. Going to open this one +1. Raises to 1.1. So just over a min click, and Dean going to be continuing the ace-jack of spades. Should just be flat in here a lot of the time, Tower. I might incorporate some free bets in with our offsuit ace-jack, but versus +1 open, like to just see a call, and does make the call. Terry with the 10-6 gets out the way. And Alexis peeling the Queen 9 suited on the button, and Adam got a lovely one to defend in the form of 6-4 of hearts.
4-way to the flop. King 7-10. 2 diamonds.
This is a complete whiff for all 4 players here. And,
very strange.
Yaquem like his decision not to continue 4-way, although we can see it would have worked. I like the decision from him not to continue this board once we go 4-way with the ace-4 of clubs. And Dean just turns the stones, the Queen of Hearts rolling off. So straight away here is Dean going to be betting now once checked to us, and want to start trying to extract some value from our hand. And fires for 3.5k. And Alexis here has turned middle pair, and once Yaquem checks, probably will make the assumption that we expect Dean to be firing his King X. So maybe thinking about calling with the Queen, although we do have 2 players behind us to worry about. Like, and Dean's obviously has fired into 3, so repping strength himself. And does make the call. And I think we would have seen Adam fold the 6-4 of hearts, see if the Queen 9 of spades of Alexis did fold on the button. He's going to fold anyway, fair play. There are some bigger heart draws out there, but with 1 card to come, I don't think he would have called anyway. Well, he definitely wouldn't have called anyway if Alexis did fold when he's folding, when he does call. And 7 of spades on the river. So we now chop with Queen Jack. If that was the hand that Dean was firing on the turn. Wow, he checks this. He checks it, Tower.
Checking it, check.
Like, boat shouldn't be a thing here.
Never.
Just because, like, he's going to fire all his 2-pair plus on the turn.
Yeah.
Like, there's it's on the flop, sorry, like if he's got a hand like 10-7 suited, King 7 suited, he's going to fire all these on the turn sets as well. So we still like got the effective nuts here as Dean, the way the hand's played. Like, Alexis should just never ever have a boat in this spot, unless it's like, and he can't specifically Queen 7, which he can't have because he doesn't peel that on the button. And now Alexis here, which I thought was going to be a snap check back, is firing. Maybe Dean's checked here because it's double flush draw board, and maybe thinks he's going to be more weighted towards draws in this situation once the flop checks through, and maybe trying to induce a bet from Alexis that way. But Alexis here just thinking he's not going to have ace queen, he's probably going to free bet that quite high frequency pre, so maybe trying to get him off a chop or something, like if he's got queen jack perhaps. I think that's the only thing this bet's going to achieve here from Alexis. We're never getting called by worse unless it's chop situation. We get action from only better hands. We've just got a really nice one to check back with the queen nine of spades, but Alexis opted to fire, and now Dean coming in for the raise with the ace jack, and I'm so pleased to see that because, as I said, boats should just never be a thing in this spot. Once we go four away, Alexis has to fire all his two pair plus on the flop. And now I'm back to Alexis here.
He makes the payoff.
Makes the call as
He
well.
makes the call with the queen.
What a check! What a check from Dean then. If that's the case, maybe there's some dynamic there, perhaps tower. But I'm just so surprised to see him value bet the queen nine. Like, what are we ever getting called by in that spot? We're never getting called by worse. It's a situation we're only getting action from better hands, and then actually opted to
Maximum value by checking.
The 3x raise. Yeah, he's got the max from the check, and like in the short term, it's a great check there. But I think over the long run, we're never getting queen x to fire that river. A lot of players are just going to snap check back, especially once we fire into three players on the turn. But as I say, we don't know the dynamic. We don't know what's going through the players' heads. They're always going to be reasoning for the lines that they are taking. Yeah, Amphrax, that's a good point. He made it he's new to me, Alexis, so I've never seen him before, and when I saw that king queen hero fold, the way he played that hand, I thought, yeah, this guy, competent, very good player. But then maybe there's some dynamic there between the two. But very, very surprised for him to bet call that spot with just the queen. Obviously, a big factor from his perspective is that the flop was checked through, and probably expects the man in seat 7 to just be barreling all the time, Dean. On the flop when he does have a king x, ace queen unlikely as well, because probably going to incorporate some free bets in that with that pre. But I'm very intrigued to know the thought process of Alexis for that one. But back to this hand, because Jack 5 rainbow board. Well, both players have missed here, so John not choosing to continue the queen 10 of clubs. Surprised to see that as well. Just going to get so many folds on this board versus big blind defend range. Wouldn't have got a fold in this situation because Bousey does have a 5, but he's going to opt for the delay continue here, and Bousey not going to be going anywhere with two pair. The 4 on the river. So interesting spot here for John, whether he is going to bluff at this one. Got to think about hands that we're trying to get Bousey to fold in this situation, and does fire for 3k. Like good competent players, when it's we'll have some like checks with aces and kings in this spot on the board. You expect like 6s through 10s to probably fire for a bit of protection. Bousey just thinks better of the 6-5, gives John credit for it. John can also have some plenty of jack x that check back as well, opening jack 9 suited, jack 10, queen jack, king jack, ace jack, which are going to incorporate some checks in versus big blind calling range. So Bousey just giving John credit for that one. So Terry opening low jack with the ace jack, raises to 1.2, and Shane calls for the king 10 in the cutoff, and a Yuquan going to defend the suited king in the big blind. Well, action, because we've got nut flush draw versus top pair. Terry with the top is the pairs. Fires for 2.6. And Yuquan not going to be going anywhere here. Just want to be calling here with the king 5 of clubs. Terry's still got the strong ace-x being the opener in his range. No need to raise this one, just going to call it and take some turns, and gets there on the turn, and 8 of clubs, check, check. 10 of spades on the river. So Yuquan, and versus this opponent, I just go big here, like more than pot size. Like I'd probably go like 13k in this particular scenario versus Terry, because Terry never going to fold an ace here. I don't think. Like I think regardless of sizing that we choose, Terry's just never going to fold an ace in this spot. Although if you think about the hand, there's not much that we beat in this situation, unless Yuquan's turning 3x into a bluff. When he calls on the ace-8 board, ace-8 free, 2 club board, it's going to be flush draws, ace-x, 8x and 3x. 3x probably never going to bluff, we lose to 8x. Ace-x is probably going to check, because Terry has the stronger ace-x, but Terry never going to be folding the ace in that spot. So when we do make a really strong hand against this particular opponent, like that probably isn't going to fold an ace in this situation, we can start sizing up. Like just try and use like an exploitable sizing versus the player in question. But unfortunate for Terry, did have the best of it.